Okay, we're just three on board. So we have students here from Lagos. I believe others will join us along the way. Good afternoon, Mr. Mark and AA. All right. So today we don't have any trading fundamental event again today because the next event is going to come up by 11 p.m. tonight, and that is going to be the RBA Governor Bullock speech from Australia. So the market is going to continue to the end of the day more on a technical note. So with that being said, I'll just switch over to the chat for us to look at upcoming technical setup and trades, which we can take, as the day progresses. All right, so the first I'll look at is I'll look at the Euro USD and the GBP USD. Now, okay, before I look at both instruments, let me just give a clear outlook. For yesterday morning, when I had a weekly market outlook, I told us I was expecting price to break out to the downside on the dollar index, and it happened exactly like that. Price hit the support zone, just like I said, and from there we can see a kind of a reversal. But then what's important is that price went exactly in line with the analysis, hitting that support zone on the daily time frame. Currently, we're having a rejection candle on the dollar index on the daily time frame. So at this point now, I will want to remove this trend line. So we know we're dealing with price exactly on a support zone, forming a rejection candle. Where we have a candlestick with long shadow and small body. Technically, price is expected, to go back in the reverse direction towards the bullish movement on the daily time frame to approach the next resistance level on the daily time frame. So we're bullish on the dollar. Now, if we're bullish on the dollar, then we're going to be expecting a bearish movement on an instrument like the Euro USD, because for Euro USD, the dollar is a quote currency. So if dollar is bullish, Euro USD is expected to be bearish. And for Euro USD, I have a high probability setup right from the daily time frame. This is the Euro USD on the daily time frame. Price is having an overall bearish trend. Price is making a series of lower high, and another lower high here. And this third one is actually the point of confluence where we have a rejection candle, price hitting the trend line, and also a resistance zone is on that point also. So we have the trend line, the resistance, and the rejection candle all meeting at this point. So technically, we're going to be expecting a bearish movement on the Euro USD. So we're going to flip down to the 4-hour time frame. And on the 4-hour, we have a rising wedge, which equally points us to the bearish direction. And I still believe we may see a slight bullish movement before we get the bearish breakout on the Euro USD. And before entry, RSI should be clearly below 50 and possibly MACD below 0. But like I always say, MACD is subjective. It depends on your trading style. But at least your RSI should be clearly below 50 before we can trigger a sell. Now, if we take it to 1 hour, we'll still get a clearer picture of what to expect. On 1 hour, we can see the formation of a head and shoulder pattern, is taking place here. If it works out just like that, that would help to trigger the bearish direction on the Euro USD. So overall, I'm bearish on the Euro USD. So please watch this instrument closely for a bearish breakout. And for the GBP USD, for the GBP USD, we have a similar setup also where price is trending downwards. The overall trend is bearish, just like we saw it on the Euro USD. And we have price making a series of lower high, and here we have the third lower high, which is also a rejection candle and is around a support turn resistance level. So this point is our confluence point from where we expect, price to drive downwards on the GBP USD. If we zoom down to the 4-hour time frame, I can see here that we have a head and shoulder pattern. Yeah, good afternoon, Kenancy. A head and shoulder pattern, and we're expecting further breakout downwards. Now, price has clearly broken out below the neckline region, You can see the current 4-hour candle is a bearish one. Our RSI just slightly close below 50, it's at 46. We actually expect it to drop lower than that, but notwithstanding, we still watch that area closely. What I will say for this is this, for this GPUSD is I will rather also wait in this instance for the MACD to cross below zero. So whenever the MACD crosses below zero, it could be the next 4-hour candle or the one after that, you are free to trigger a sell on the GBP/USD once the MACD crosses below zero, because at that point, RSI will have clearly dropped below 50, and we will have seen price drop below this level. But our overall bias on GBP/USD is a bearish movement, and it's a swing setup, so it's something that can span, the entire week. We can see that price hit this Fibonacci level. That's why we're seeing the current retracement. It also means that if a new candle breaks out below this Fibonacci level, it can also be a pointer to us to take a sell on the GBP/USD. Now, price is expected to target the next Fibonacci level, which should be Fibonacci 50 at around, let's just say roughly 20 pips. Fibonacci 61.3 can give as much as 50 pips, and Fibonacci 78.66 can give it about 90 pips. So we have between 20 to 90 pips to catch on this GBP/USD this week. So please watch this particular instrument very, very closely. And similarly, for those who are just joining us, let me go back to the Euro/USD. We're bearish also on the Euro/USD, similar setup with the GBP/USD. We have a rising wedge, a resistance, rejection candle, and the likes. And but what I want to show now is a profit projection for this one too. So Fibonacci 50 can give as much as about 18 pips. 61.8 can give as much as 38 pips. And Fibonacci 78.6 can give as much as 65 pips on the Euro/USD. So we're bearish on both the GBP/USD and the Euro/USD. And that's because the dollar is bullish. Now for AED/USD, from my analysis yesterday, I've been bearish on this instrument. The price is yet to break out, but we still anticipate the breakout. So this is AED/USD on the daily time frame. Again, price overall direction is bearish. We have lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, and this is a confluence point, another lower high with a candle that closed yesterday, closing as a rejection candle on a resistance level. So technically, we're looking for a downward movement on the AUD/USD from the daily time frame. Now, this is a 1-hour version. On 1 hour, I'm seeing the formation of a head and shoulder pattern right here, and I'm expecting a breakout. So you will be ready to take a sell if a new candle breaks below this neckline region here. So once a new candle breaks out below that area, with your RSI clearly below 50 and possibly your MACD below zero, that will be an indication to take a sell on the AUD/USD. And Fibonacci 38.2 will give as much as about 20 pips, Fibonacci 50 about 37 pips, and Fibonacci 61.8 as much as 54 pips. So that's a projection on the AUD/USD. We are bearish on the AUD/USD. And finally, I'm also looking at BTC/USD. I believe you saw my updates on BTC yesterday from the analysis on Friday. Price dropped to the tune of 480 pips on the BTC/USD. Now, the reversal seems to be getting ready to take place on the BTC/USD. Now, this is BTC/USD on the daily time frame. Now, price seems to be forming what looks like a double bottom pattern, which might trigger a long-term bullish movement, all things being equal though. And we're actually approaching the end of the year. Transaction volume is going to increase globally, because festive period, this is already December, spendings will increase, people will do dirty December globally, it's a global thing. So we're expecting a lot of bulls. And that's why for the dollar also, I actually expect the dollar to go bullish this December. So with a bull, with this move on the BTC/USD, we can see, okay, let me start from the weekly time frame. We can see the trend line, the overall trend on the BTC/USD is bullish. Price is bouncing some higher low, and higher low. So technically, we're looking for an upward movement on the BTC USD on the weekly time frame. On the daily, we're having the formation of what is looking like a double bottom. Yeah, we can't take it for that now, but at least that is what I'm seeing. It's just pointing us in that direction. Nothing really on 4 hour, but on 1 hour time frame, I'm seeing an inverse head and shoulder pattern. And price is getting ready for a bullish breakout. RSI is clearly below 50, sorry, clearly above 50, and MACD is about to cross above 0. The only thing we need now is we need a new candle to break out above the neckline region. Actually, the neckline region is from this diagonal side here. So this afternoon, watch it. You can see current price is testing that trend line. If a new candle opens above this neckline region, it will be a time to trigger a buy on the BTC USD. And if we are not using Fibonacci levels, price projection may target this next resistance level. But with Fibonacci, and if you want to enter multiple trades, you can take each of the levels. But overall, we are bullish on the BTC USD. All right, so that'll be all from my analysis this afternoon. I've analyzed 4 instruments. I said I'm bearish on the Euro USD on 4 hour. I'm bearish on the GBP USD on 4 hour. I'm bearish on the AUD USD on 1 hour. And I'm bullish on the BTC USD on 1 hour. All right, so that'll be all from my end. If you have a question, just go ahead and post it in the comments. I will definitely respond to you. Okay, in the absence of, okay, somebody just posted. All right, good to hear that, hey Nancy. Thanks a lot for the other day. I'm now using trend line and oscillators perfectly. Good. These are the kind of testimonials I want to keep seeing. Okay, gold. All right, I'll look at gold in a second. Just give me a second. Okay, so let's check gold. Now, if you were part of my analysis yesterday, Monday, that's the weekly outlook, I said gold on the weekly time frame was approaching the resistance, and I'm seeing the possible formation of a double top pattern, which might lead to some long-term bearish momentum, all things being equal. You know, we don't control the market, we can only guide you based on our knowledge and experience. I'll respond to you shortly, Amit. So we have a long-term, all things, like I keep using the word all things being equal because this can be speculative in many ways. So I said yesterday that if price might hit this resistance, and from there we expect a reversal, at least within the range of what is possible for now. And yesterday, the market closed with a rejection candle exactly at the tip of that resistance level. So that's the reason why, you know, we've seen a crash in gold today. You know, as a trader by now, but looking at the chart, you should be able to give reasons why some movement are happening. I was hearing some people say this morning, there was a crash on gold. What happened? What happened? Did they check the charts? If you check the chart, you will know. If you can interpret what's on the chart, you will definitely know what has happened. What happened is that the market closed yesterday with a rejection candle on the daily time frame. That's a candlestick with a long shadow and small body. Definitely is going to, there's no magic in that one. It's going to crash, except if there's an overriding fundamental event. Once that does not happen, technically, you know, we're expecting to see a bearish movement on gold today, which has happened to an extent. But the question is, will it continue going further? That is what we should now be concerned about. Is it a move that has ended, or will have a continuation. But the general bias is a bearish one. That's the outlook. But then we still need to look at what is happening presently so that we can get a clearer picture. Now, even though we saw some bearish movement already, this is the 1 hour version to it, a rising wedge. With the current happenings I'm seeing here, price may retest this trend line. It may retest the trend line, even though it may sell later, but it's more or less, we had a breakout. This is a breakout phase. It's more like in a retest phase. And this is actually forming what is close to, I can describe as a head and shoulder pattern. So this is the wave, a shoulder, a head, a breakout, a retest, and possibly a further continuation. So at the moment, gold, I would say gold is in a retracement phase. Will it touch this place? It's 50-50. It may not. But what we are concerned about is if you want to trade gold as a sell signal, then you need to clearly wait for price to break out below this recent low. So either it goes to touch that trend line or not, or it reverses from the current point. What you are looking out for is a break below this low before further breakout. So I still maintain my bearish outlook on gold, and more so because RSI is clearly below 50. It even already touched the oversold level and is retracing, and MACD is also below zero. So it's just in a retracement, retracement phase before a further, just like the RSI2 seems to be going up, but I still expect it to reverse downwards. So we're bearish, very much bearish on gold, only waiting for a clear breakout downwards. All right, so back to Amit Imolere. Pardon me if I didn't pronounce that well. So he said, Mr. Rotimi, when next are you going deeply into analyzing strategy like last week? Okay, well, every Wednesday we're having another session tomorrow. It may not necessarily be a strategy session, but then there's a lot to pick. There are a lot of things that lead into a strategy. There are a lot of principles you need to know, which eventually evolves into a strategy. So what I'll just say is that make sure you join us on any of these sessions. And if you happen to live in Lagos or Abuja, then you can even go to our offices at these locations where we'll have physical training sessions. Like in Lagos now, I only took a break to take this analysis. We have students in Lagos, where we've been having lecture much like an hour ago before I started this analysis, this afternoon analysis. So you can find yourself in any of these two locations, and you also get, a lot of quality education in Forex trading. All right, so with that, we're ending this session this afternoon. Do trade safe.
Sorry, hello, sir.
Good afternoon,
sir. Sorry, please. I didn't see the link, so I entered very late. I don't know if you touched USDX. I don't know if I said anything about dollar.
I did. I touched on it. Okay, we're bullish on the dollar index. Yesterday I said price was going to break out downwards, which happened already. Price hit the support zone, but then it closed also as a rejection candle on the daily time frame. So technically today, we're expecting price to move to the upside. So we're bullish on the dollar index.
Okay.
So with that, we're bearish on the Euro USD, we're bearish on GBP USD, and we're bearish on the AUD USD. Those are the three instruments we looked at.
Okay, so thank you very much. I'm very grateful. Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. All right, so that'll be all for now. Trade safe. Enjoy the rest of the day. Bye-bye.
Enjoy the rest of the day.